Blessings everybody, my name's Eric. This will be my first video of its kind that I'm posting online on this topic. Let me just say, this is regarding the Revelation 12 sign. I'm actually in the garage right now because I want to be able to talk at full volume and not wake anybody in the house up. So I'm going to briefly read through Revelation 12 if you haven't already read it, or if you just need a quick refresher. And then I have something pretty interesting that I haven't heard anybody else cover yet. I kind of did some studies on my own. I got a little curious, so I went ahead and did that. I've never edited a video before, so I might take this footage from my phone and see if I can figure out how to cut and throw the verse on the screen, and maybe some graphics of the constellations and whatnot that we're talking about, and we'll see if I can edit it or not. But anyways, I'm gonna read this briefly, and then we'll continue to talk. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. Keep this verse in mind. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. That's the entire chapter. I always like to read at least the entire chapter to give some context. I don't want to just sound like one of those people that picks a couple verses and, you know, goes off on tangents about them. But you may have seen a lot of videos to this point of different people who show how on, what was it? It was September 23rd of this year, right around the Feast of Trumpets, right after this sign happened in the heavens, constellation Virgo, constellation Leo, right? Leo had Mercury and Mars in conjunction with it, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, which turns the 9 stars into 12 wandering stars. Even without those 3 planets, by the way, Regulus is a 4-star binary system or something of that. So there's already 12 stars there, which, so God makes it correct both visibly and factually for any doubters that would want to say, well, those aren't stars. Well, there actually are 12 stars, so either way you want to argue it, God got it right. But that was the topic of this. So then you have Jupiter, the man-child, in the womb of the constellation Virgo. There's multiple people that dissect this a lot. That is not what I want to point out here. I came up with an interesting idea, and I believe it was from God, but I was reading a lot during that time around the Feast of Trumpets. I was reading and praying and trying to observe, you know, the feast, just because it was on my heart to do that with everything. I've been following this stuff since the blood moons and for a while now, so we've been waiting for it, as have many of you, I'm sure. Something I wanted to point out that I think is interesting, and I hope some of you out there take this and run with it. I'm just doing this really briefly, but maybe some of you can elaborate or do some more research. But I got the Star Skyview app, right, so I could look at the constellations and whatnot and watch this Revelation 12 sign happen just through my phone. But with that, you know, I'm checking through it and I'm looking at stuff, and you know, you can point at different things and it'll show what star it is, Regulus. So anyways, long story short, I start researching these constellations because I'm trying to figure out things about the dragon and things like that. I come to find out through research that typically, you know, people who observe the stars, astronomers, the magi, whoever is looking at the sky looking for a constellation, they look for it based on the brightest star in that constellation. So I got this idea, and I hope, you know, I hope it's something that's from God, but if not, it's really interesting. So I looked up the brightest stars in each of the constellations in the Mazzaroth or the Zodiac or any of them, right? But the 2 constellations that are relevant to this Revelation 12 sign are Virgo and Leo. So I look up Virgo, and the brightest star in Virgo is Spica, S-P-I-C-A, or Spica, or Spica, I don't know, Spica. I'm going to say Spica. Who knows? And the brightest star in the constellation of Leo is Regulus. So I did a little more reading on those, and I come to find out that Spica, the brightest star in the constellation of Virgo, is 250 light years away from Earth. Okay? And Regulus, the brightest star in the constellation of Leo, is approximately 79 light years from Earth. Now, both of these are approximate. There's a standard deviation or error, so it could be plus or minus 10 for 10 light years for Spica, for the light years away, plus or minus a few for Regulus, or Regulus is actually pretty close, so it's more nailed down. Anyways, what I found interesting is if you take, so that means the light that we're seeing from those stars that are in these constellations in this Revelation 12 sign at the time that we're seeing it, even though we're not actually seeing it, but the light that's hitting Earth, right, from those stars this year is actually 250 years old and 79 years old. So I took 2017 and I subtracted 250 years, right? That brings us to 1767, and then you have plus or minus 10. So this is right around the time that the United States of America was founded. The Revolutionary War, 1776, right? This was the birth of the United States. So Virgo, brightest star that you find it by Spica, the light during this Revelation 12 sign that we're seeing was light that radiated right at the birth of the United States, or around the birth of the United States. Regulus, which is in Leo, the second constellation in this sign, 79 light years away. You subtract 79 from 2017, you get 1938. Well, what's notable about that time period? That's when pretty much the Holocaust, the persecution of the Jews, really started in Germany and around Europe, where they started getting, thrown out of places and started, really getting persecuted. So this was 7 years before 1945, where World War II wraps up, right? So this is right. So at the time that this Revelation 12 sign happened, the constellation Leo, Regulus, you find it by Regulus, the light radiating from that radiated at the time of the Holocaust, and the light radiating from Spica radiated from the star at the birth of the United States. So you want to talk about a dragon, persecution, wings of great eagle. I'm not being dogmatic on anything, but I think it's really interesting and really cool. I'm sure there's a lot more to research on it, but I don't have the time to do it, and I definitely need to get a camera that can handle more capacity. Hopefully I can edit this, and the final product is better than me just holding my camera. But send this to some people, or research it yourself and post a video or something. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think it's really interesting. Anyways, awesome stuff with the announcement of Jerusalem as the capital and everything. Really, really amazing stuff going on, guys. So God bless. Thank you for watching. This is going to be the first video I post on this channel, so I hope you'll like it. Maybe share it. I don't intend to become a big YouTuber or anything, but I hope this is a blessing, and something comes of it. God bless, and have a very Merry Christmas.